Sorry. Cloud pre-configuration. Okay, perfect. So guys, this is the topology right now you have, and this is the area 0 right now. So let me recap those things first of all. So whatever the LSA we have discussed till now, so we have discussed the 3 types of LSA. So router LSA, that is also known as a type 1 LSA. And it is generated by every router that contains the information about how many links are connected to. Then we have a network LSA. Type 2 LSA. It is generated by only DR, not router, that contain the information how many routers are attached to me. And this 2 LSA, right, only travel within the area. Okay, it will not go beyond the area. Okay, then what happened? We have summary LSA, that's known as type 3 LSA. It is generated by only AVR border that contains the information summary, or we can say that brief, short, and skinny information about network. Is it? So it is only generated by the AVR, and the condition of the AVR is that a router must belongs to the at least one area, right? One interface must be belong to the backbone area, at least one interface, right? Now can you see that this area 0 and area 1, and this is the configure with the RIP protocol I'm going to run over there. So this is a RIP I'm going to run between this guy R1 and R4. So you can assume that this is the headquarter branch. So this headquarter branch is the Patna, and this is the branch office we have in the Delhi, and this is a new branch office we have a Bangalore. Is it? So we have a headquarter office in the Patna, then we have a branch office. So Delhi is the branch office, and the Bangalore is also branch office. Okay, let me do one thing. No. Array. So this is my branch office. So let me put the PR branch, right? And we have a BR, that's a Bangalore. Okay. So try to understand what happened in this case. Of course, some LAN users are sitting behind the R1. Some LAN users are sitting behind the R4. And some LAN users are sitting behind the R2. And some LAN users are sitting behind the R3. Is it? Not R2, because R2 is a transit route right now. So on transit route there is no LAN user. So is it right? So this is my topology right now. What happened? So guys, do you know what happened right now? What if the host one right now? We have a host one over there. Host 2, host 3 and 4, and we have a host 5 and host 6, right? Try to understand. You tell me one thing, right? You just tell me one thing. When R1, sorry, not R1, when R4 is going to send this information, let me write on the configuration in front of this guy so you will understand this thing. So this is the R4 configuration. So let me decrease the size. and R4 configuration look like this. I say the router rep version 2 network 14.0 is it, and network 4.0.0.0, network 44.0.0, and network we have 172.16.1.0, and we need to put the no auto summary command. Why? Because we have a one classless route. This is the classless route and this is the classful. These are the classful route, right? These are the classful route, and this is the classless route. So we have a classless route, and by default in the RIP protocol, what happened? Auto summary is enabled. That's why we need to mention the no auto summary. What R4 is going to do? R1 also need to apply the same configuration. On R1, I need to put the R1 router RIP version 2 network 14.0. Okay, and then our router OSPF, and then I need to put the router 1 again, router OSPF 1, and so the network 12.0 area 0. Is it? This is the basic configuration that I need to do on R1 router. On R2, if I'm going to talk about, so R2 configuration will look like this: router OSPF 1 network 8, not it should be mentioned like area 1, right? So this is the configuration that's belong from the router number 2, right? What about the router number 3 now? On the router number 3, we just need to put the configuration, right? Router OSPF 1 23.0 area 1, right? So this is the configuration that's belong from the every router. You tell me one thing. Let me put all this good, right? Router 1, router 1. You tell me one thing. R1 will send this one information to the R1, right? R4 will send this own information, this 4.0, 44.0, 172.16.0 information to the R1, right? What R1 is going to do? R1 is going to maintain the routing table as a RIP route. R1 is going to maintain the RIP information in the routing table. Will R1 is by default send this information to R2? By default, not, because this interface is belong from the OSPF, and this interface is belong from the RIP, right? By default, they cannot communicate. By default, they cannot communicate. RIP information cannot share to the OSPF, and OSPF information cannot share to the RIP. By default, the communication, the route exchange will not happen. What we have to do over there? We need to provide the redistribution. Right now, in this case, what happened? This is my AVR router. Let me write on this thing. This is my AVR. Right. So what we have to do on R1, I need to provide the redistribution. Try to understand one thing. If I'm going to provide the redistribution on R1, what happened? The configuration will look like this. I need to go on the R1. I say that redistribute RIP protocol, redistribute RIP protocol, and on R1, I need to say that redistribute OSPF and define the metric 2. That's a whole point. This is the configuration that I need to put on a R1 router. Correct? Once I'm going to put this configuration on R1 router, what happened? Now automatically what happened? Now R1 will become a new router. That router is known as a ASBR. So R2 is the AVR router. Why? Because this one interface is belong from the area 0 and another interface is belong from the area 1. This router will become the ASBR after the performing the redistribution. ASBR means what? Autonomous System Boundary Router. There are two different autonomous system right now. RIP is a different autonomous system number, and OSPF is a different autonomous system number. RIP is a different autonomous system number and OSPF is a different autonomous system number. And if you know exchange the route between these two guys, what happened? We need to perform the redistribution. So if I'm going to provide the communication between the two different autonomous system number, R1 automatically become the ASBR router because he is a border router. R1 is a border router between the RIP protocol and OSPF. R1 is a border router between the RIP protocol and OSPF, autonomous system boundary router. Two different autonomous system. If you have a look the name of the ABR as well as right now, ABR, it's an area border router. Both have same meaning, right? Border router, border router. But this is the area, right? That's why we say the ABR, and this is the autonomous system number. Is it? Now, once R1 will become the ASBR, what R1 is going to do? R1 will advertise, right? R1 will advertise this information. R1 will advertise this information as a LSA 5. R1 will advertise this information as a LSA 5. So what R1 is going to do? R1 will create a new LSA that is known as a external LSA type 5. It is only generated by, not only we can say that, yeah, only generated by. It is only generated by ASBR router, and that contains the information about external route. External means what? A route is coming from different autonomous system node. A route is coming from different routing protocol. That's the meaning of external LSA. This 4.0, 44.0, 172.16, 1.0, these are the route that is coming from RIP protocol. And once I'm going to share this information to the area 0 in area 0 in the OSPF domain, this is the ASBR router. It will generate the LSA 5 information. Right? Once this information will be reaches to the area 0. Area 0 means what? It's a collection of router. It is something like that. This is the area 0. And in this area 0, you will have a multiple router number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. Right? Something like that. So once this LSA 5, once this LSA will be travel in this area, right? That is good. But once this LSA will be advertised to the different area, right? It is traveling the within the area, it's good in the area 0. But once it will advertise by the AVR to the different area, what happened? What AVR is going to do? First of all, it is something like that. So we have area 0, now we have area 1. There's a multiple slot over there, 7, 8, 9. Once I'm going to share this information to the R7, or you can understand from the area 0 to area 1, what AVR is going to do? AVR is going to create a new LSA that is known as a LSA number 4. Now what LSA number 4 is going to do? LSA 4 is known as a type 4 LSA. Sorry, LSA 4 is known as an autonomous system. Or in a short, we can say that ASBR summary LSA. That is a type 4 LSA. It contains the information how to reach ASBR router. That's it. LSA4, right? LSA4 is just going to contains the information how to reach the ASBR. They don't have any route information. They don't have any routing information. It is just let them know. It is just going to R2 is just going to inform to the area 1 router, whatever the routers are sitting in the area 1. It's just going to inform to this router, right, how to reach R1. How to reach R1, because R1 is a ASBR router. R2 will send the LSA4 information in the area 1, that is just going to inform to the R3 router how to reach the ASBR router. That's it. That is the LSA4 information, and it is generated by ABR only. So in this case, what happened? Try to understand this thing, right? ABR will generate the LSA4 information. So it's not like that LSA5 will be not travel. LSA4 is just going to inform to the R3 router how to reach the ASBR router. At the same time, R2 will also share the LSA5 information, because R2 is behave like a now relay, right? I can forward this information to the U. LSA5 is traveling in the area 0, then it will relay this information to the area 1. Clear? So now how the R3 routing table look like this? In the R3 routing table, you will have an information look like this: E2 4.0.0, E2, E2, and even E2 is 14.0. External type 2 by default. You can change to type 1 as well as. But I'll show you what is the meaning of type 1 and type 2. Don't worry. First, understand what is the LSA4 and LSA5. Let me explain you again what happened. R4 will share this information to the R1. R1 will store this information in the routing table. R1 by default never share this information to the OSPF. First phase is clear, right? I need to perform the redistribution. Once I perform the redistribution, what happened? R1 will become the ASBR router. Second phase has clear. Now what R1 is going to do? R1 is going to advertise the information about this route as a LSA5, because LSA5 is generated by the ASBR router. So R1 will send this information to the area 0, LSA5 information. R1, R2 will store this information into the LSA database table, that is LSDB. Now R2 will flood this information to the area 1, and R2 is the ABR router. I need to inform, R2 need to inform to the all the router that are sitting in the area 1. They knows that who is ASBR. So R2 is going to create the new LSA, that is known as the LSA4, that is just contains the information how to reach the ASBR router. I need to inform to the all the router that are sitting in the area number 1. So it will generate the LSA4 information by the ABR. At the same time, I'm going to send the LSA5 information, because LSA5 information is contained this information. So now R3 will receive this information. R3 will maintain the database table. At the same time, they will maintain the routing table. By default, they will take the external type 2. You can change it to 1 as well as. I'll show you what is the behavior to change this one. Don't worry about that. Anyone has a question in this phase, you can ask me. अरे क्वेश्चंस हैं या नहीं हैं मुझे भी बता दो। Perfect. So just inform me, right, so that I can move. Now, quick question to all of you guys. In this concept, right, let me tell you again. R4 will generate the own information to the R1. R1 need to perform the redistribution. Once the R1 perform the redistribution, this guy will become the SBR router, and R1 will send the LSA5 information to the R2. In this case, will R2 will generate the LSA4 or not? Quick question to all of you.
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
चलो आप प्रैक्टिकल पे। Oh, what is this? Paper, placement. यार ये खुल रहा है ये सब। Or skip step. OSPF LSA 4 and 5. What is enough, right? /8 /8 चलो 3D करते हैं इसको 3D में पड़ेगा थोड़ा में पड़ेगा okay, so same topology is there, right? Nothing is different. डायग्राम ही बनाना पड़ेगा क्या? लो इसको एरिया 0 में डाल दो, थोड़ा सा कुछ करके, थोड़ा सा लिटिल बिट। इसको एरिया 1 में डाल दो, चले। डन। अरे इसको एरिया रिप में डाल दो, ये बंदा रिप में रहेगा अपना। इसकी जिंदगी कलरफुल बना देते हैं। लेट्स मेक इट कलरफुल। Fill the color. Get this guy perfect. This one. Done. This one. इसका तो border हो perfect, right? ये border ही रहेगा. So this guys belong from the area 0, right? And this is the area 1. And this is the ABR order. And this will become the ASBR order, right? Correct configuration. बाकी तो सब सही है. यहाँ rip चल रहा है. This is the rip running over there, right? Interface 0/0 IP address will be 14.4. Interface loopback number 1. The loopback does not have a MAC address. This is a class full. Class full. Interface loopback number 3. Classless. Then router rip version 2 network. Then doodle war R2. Interface loopback number 2. So that it will become the router ID. Always need to define the router ID manually. Always remember this thing. Please. Done. हो गया. router OSPF 1, router ID, network, area 1, WR R1, router OSPF 1, router ID, network, router rep, network, router assembly, done. R2, router OSPF 1, router ID, network, area 0, network, area 1, no auto assembly. अरे auto summary is not there in the OSPF, sorry. Okay, so we are forming the navigation with the 3.3. Just wait for the R1 as well as. रिफॉर्म कर ले भाई, दूसरा आईपी सिर्फ नहीं बन क्या हो गया यार उनको बताओ. सब कुछ तो बड़बड़ है. I don't know why the mistake is happening. अरे सब कुछ तो सही है. So IP OSPF interface brief. हैं Can anyone solve this one? Anyone? कोई तो सॉल्व कर दो.
What we need to solve, sir?
Solve this one. Why we are not getting formed in the navigation between R1 and R2?
Not getting, sir.
यार सिंपल सा लॉजिक था यार. 0/1 0/0 यही करते हो यार तुम लोग. कुछ काम करना नहीं होता लोग.
IP address.
Done. So if you see on R2 show IP of neighbor, we have a neighborship in the R1 and R3, right? R2 has a two neighborship, R1 and R3. Clear? So let's go on R1 order, and if you check do show IP route, I have a DP information of 4.0.0.0. Done. Done. This is the OI routes that is getting from the different area. So R1 is saying that I'm getting this 23.0 information from the different area. That was the OI route. So by default, R1 will never share this information to the R2. If you go to R2 router and check this information, show IP route, OSPF, I don't have any information because I'm not, of course, R1 does not sharing this information to the R2 right now. So what we have to do, we need to go on the router OSPF 1 and it's a redistribute RIP protocol and router RIP redistribute OSPF 1 matrix will be done. Now if you go to R2 router and check this information, show IP route OSPF, I'm getting this information E2. But why I'm not getting the information about the 72.1.0/24? What's the reason behind it? So guys, try to understand this thing. R1 routing table, we have information of this guy, right? R1 routing table, we have information on this guy as a RIP route, but R1 is not able to share this information to the OSPF. But they can share the 4 and 44 and the 14.0, but not 72.16.1.0. Because this is a classless route. Because this is the classless route, and by default, OSPF carry classless classful route information from different routing protocol. If you see that the message is coming over there, once I say that router OSPF 1 redistribute RIP, so what we do over there, again I need to go on the router OSPF 1, I need to say that redistribute RIP subnet, right? I need to perform I need to redistribute all the subnet routes, that is a classless route. Now this keyword is just going to represent that this route. So this is the good thing, that you have ability to filter the routes as well as without doing any kind of filtering. For example, R4 has a lots of 1000 prefix that belong from the subnets, a classless. R1 will never share this information with R2 by default. If you want to do, you can do that by using the subnets keyword. Clear? So now if you check on R2 right now, I have a complete information. So I can do this. So previously 172.16.1.0/24 is not there. Now we have. As a E2 dot, by default it will take the E2. And if you go to R1 order, do show IP OSPF, R1 will become the ASBR router. I am redistributing the external route from the RIP, include the subnets redistribution. If you don't put the subnet, this information will be not there. If you don't put the subnet, this information will be not there. So right now R2 has a complete information, and if you check the database table, show IP OSPF database, my LSDB, this will be a LSA5 information. So R2 saying that OSPF router I2.2.2, process ID 1, area 0. Can you see that? Who is advertising this LSA? R1, because R1 is SBR. R1 is SBR. R1 is SBR and R1 is SBR. If you go to R3 as well as show IP OSPF database, At the same time, what information we have right now? Summary ASBR LSA, LSA4. And who is LSA, generated by LSA4? LSA4 is generated by whom?
ABR.
And that contains the information about whom? ASBR order. So who is the SBR? R1 is the SBR order. R1 is the SBR order, right? And advertised by 2.2.2.2. That's the ABR. So this is the information about ASBR, and he's containing the ABR, advertised by ABR. And the summary LSA, summary ASBR LSA, that's LSA4. Now maybe you have a question of how this thing will happen. Guys, have a look over there. If you check the hello pack, if you check the hello packet, right, in this hello packet, in the options field, right, there's a one option is there that is saying that EBIT. Let me tell you about this guy. What is the meaning of EBIT over there? By default, it is on. That's why it's set to the 1. You can disable this thing. It will become the 0. What's the meaning of this one? By default, E means 1. It means that external route capability means my router is able to handle external order. Because of this bit, right? Because of this bit, router is able to handle the external route information because of this person. And by default, it's 1. And that's why, if you see, E is equal to 1, it means on, and he said that I'm able to exchange the external route. And that's why you will have because of this reason, right? Because of this reason, you will have this information in the database table and in the routing table because of this person. Because of E is equal to 1, you are getting this information. He's saying that E is equal to 1 means what? I have an ability to maintain the external route information. I have an ability to maintain the external LSA information. Clear? Now, one thing that I'm going to prove you right now. So right now, in this case, what happened? We have a LSA4 information, right? As I told you that if you have a look like this topology, in this case, LSA4 will be not there, right? Let's prove it. So what I can do over there, R2 is right now ABR order, show IP OSPF protocol, include So right now it's the area border order. What I can do over right now, because this interface belongs to area 0 and this interface belongs to area 1, I can do one thing. Let me make a normal router. Interface 0/1. Do so run section OSPF. Okay, after done. So right now what happens? There is no ABR, only ASBR is there. Two-way, right? Waiting state is going on. Perfect, right? So we get the neighborship. And now if you check the stream information, do show IP route OSPF. We have a E2 route. I'm not denying it. But if you check the do show IP OSPF database, we don't have a LSA4. Only we have a LSA5. Can you see that this one? We have that LSA4 at the same time LSA5 previously, but now we don't have, only LSA5. LSA4 is not there because AVR is not there. So LSA4 information only comes when whenever you have a AVR, right? If you don't have a AVR, LSA4 will not come. Even the LSA3 will not come, right? Do we not have LSA3 as well as clear again? Now let's make a default one. Let's whatever the topology we have. Let me make it more clear. Done. So you understand the meaning of this two configuration, right? This two tuple is clear to all of you. So hope so you will able to give the answer. What is the meaning of LSA4 and LSA5? This thing is also clear to all of you guys. EVT is by default 1, and because of this reason, the router is able to handle the external route, right? And by default, the route will be a E2. It can be a E1 as well as. Okay. Now let's go to R1, and what I can do over there right now, do so run section OSPF. Clear? I said router OSPF 1, redistribute OSPF 1, mat not OS, redistributive protocol, subnets keyword. I'm going to say that matrix type 2. Sorry, type 1. You can change the type, right? What's the difference between this guy and this guy? Done. Okay. So I don't need to explain what is the meaning of a static. Static means fixed, dynamic means keep changing. Can you see that? Then see one. So in the E2 what happened? Always in the E2 what happened? You will always get the 20 for all IGP routes. In the E1 what happened? The metric will be changed depend on how far it is, right? Depend on how far it is. If you see one thing, by default, as I told you that for all IGP route, the metric is what? 20. For which guy? E2. So what happened in this case? When R1 is going to advertise this route to the OSPF domain, doesn't matter how many routers are there. For example, this is the area 0 and this is the area 1. On this router also the metric will be 20. On this router also the metric will be 20. On this router also metric will be 20. That's the meaning of static. Static metric. That's the meaning of a static metric. E2 always 20 will be there. So when R1 will share this information, it will add the 20 metric for the E2 route. Doesn't matter how many routers are there. Static. When R1 is going to advertise the E1 route, so what happened? What is the metric over there? 20, right? It will add the 20 and then the route is coming to the R2. The link cost is 10, right? It will add the 30. The link cost is 10. It will add the 40. So in the E1, what happened? By default, the 20 will be there. But depend on the link, the cost will be added. So the cost is 10. That's why you are getting on R3. That's why you are getting on R3 as a 40. Clear? See, if you see that 12 or 0, to reach the 12 or 0, right, the cost is 20. And in the 20, I'm going to add the 10 plus 10, right? 10 plus 10. Clear? Chalo. For all IGP route, let me do one thing. Let's go now R1. Router BGP number 1. Network 1 or 0 or 0 or 0. I can do that, right? Router OSPF 1. Radio distribute BGP 1. Let's see what happened on R3. By default, it will take the E2. Right? This route is coming from RIP protocol. This route is coming from BGP and the metric is what? Write on one thing. It is 20 only for which guy? IGP means RIP, EHRP, OSPF. For BGP, the metric will be 1. For E2 dot. For E1, what happened? One is by default, it will add it, right? One is by default, it will add it. Then again, 10 for this link, 10 for this link, 10 for this link. In the routing table, 20 will be on, 21 will be there. One is by default, right? And 10, 10, 21. Clear ho gaya? Anyone has a question till this point? Yes or no? अभी तो मैं डिटेल में आया भी नहीं, अब पढ़ेंगे डिटेल थोड़ा सा. अनूप जल्दी तू ही बता दे यार.
No, sir, it is clear.
तो बोले ना क्लियर.
Clear, sir. I was thinking to ask some other doubts, sir, from other part.
Okay, other part. Let me complete this one, then you can ask me other part as well as. Okay, so now guys, try to understand what happened. As I told you that whatever the information that you will be added in the routing table or LSDB table, what will be the information that you are going to add it in the routing table and LSDB table. In that case, both case, what happened, your CPU will be a little bit high and the memory utilization will be happen, is it right? And this is my branch router. This is not a headquarter, right? In the headquarter, what happened, we will have a very high series of router. In the headquarter router, what have a very high series of router, they have a ability to maintain the complete routing information. They have a ability to maintain the complete database. But whatever the branch is what? A small routers are there, maybe the 3767 series of router will be there. They don't have much memory, right? They will have a 128 MB RAM right now. We can see that. So in this case, what happened? This router does not have ability to maintain the huge information. If you see still right now, show IP root summary. I'm consuming this amount of memory right now. So maybe you have a question, Law. Let's do one thing. Let's perform the summarization. How can you perform the summarization in this case, guys? You have a different subnets over there. Summarization is not possible. Summarization is not possible because if you want to reduce the wastage of memory, summarization is not possible in this case. And this is just a branch router. In the branch router, what happened? We have let's of users are there, right? For this user, I want to provide the communication with this person, but the problem is that this guy does not have a much memory. If the R3 does not have a much memory, what happened? Just take example. If this route has just a memory of 500 bytes free only, but how many route R2 is advertising to the R3? Maybe 10. So will R3 will maintain this route information? No, they will not maintain. R3 just have a 500 bytes of memory, and if R2 will send a huge amount of route information to the R3 as external route, R3 will not able to maintain that information because they don't have a much memory. So in this case, you cannot say that let me filter the route. If you are able to filter the route, again, whatever the user that are sitting behind the Delhi network, right, behind the branch office, they cannot communicate with this person, and even they cannot communicate with the headquarter network. They can't do that communication because the router does not have much memory. So in this case, what we can do over there, we can make this area as a special type of area. That area is known as a stub area. What we can do over there, I can make this guy just a special type of area that is known as a stub area. What stub area is going to do over there? Try to understand. Information. By default, if you remember that E is equal to 1, right? That's the meaning of they have a ability to maintain the LSA 5 information, or we can say that external route information. That's the meaning of by default E is equal to 1. Right? What once I'm going to configure the stub area as area number 1, what happened now? A is equal to 0. The hello packet opcode or the hello packet will change option field, and no LSA 5 for information. At the same time, no external. So once I'm going to configure the stub area, what happened? Whatever the routers that are present in the area 1, you have to configure as a stub features. So what happened now? R2 will send the OSPF hello packet with the E equal to 0, and if R1 is sending the OSPF packet E equal to 1, they will not form the neighborship. Stub flag mismatch. Try to understand what's happening over there. R2 will say this information to R3. R2 will say the complete information to R3 that R3 does not have a much memory. What happened? I need to kind of perform the route filtering and summarization over there. So what I can do, I'm going to make this guy as a stub area, right? In the stub area, what happened? It will remove the LSA5 information. So if I'm going to remove the LSA5 information, how this R3 will reaches to this person now? How the R3 will communicate with this person? What happened once like a stub area is going to remove the LSA5 information? At the same time, what happened? ABR has a capability to generate a one default route to the R3, and based on the default route, now this PC will send the traffic to this host. So instead of maintaining the thousands of route information, right? Instead of maintaining the thousands of route information, what stub area allow you? It allow you just maintain the single route information. That is your default route, and based on the default route, all the user will send the traffic to this person. So what I can do, whatever the router that are sitting in the area 0. So right now, if you see, this is my topology. R2, right? If I'm going to configure right now area 0, sorry, area 1 stub, they will drop the neighborship. If you see now, not this link. If you see the 23.2 hello packet and 23.3 hello packet, R3 is sending, right? R2 is sending. Mismatch of the hello, no neighborship. So whatever the routers that are sitting in your area number 1, for example, in the area number 1, if you have 100 routers, on 100 routers you have to configure the same command. And once I'm configured, what happened now? This guy is going to disable the A bit is equal to 0. It means that cannot serve the external routing information. No LSA4 and LSA5. And that's why if you see right now, let me do one thing. So I have configured the area 1 stub and I break the neighborship because R2 has configured the stub. This guy is sending the hello packet, but R3 is sending the hello packet with a different option field, right? I need to make the R3 as a stub as well as. And now they will form the neighborship. Now they will extend the both packet with the option flag one. If you see now 23.3, if you see now 23.3, now they are sending the, I don't have a ability to maintain the, external route. So in this case, what happened? Have a look over there. R3 do show IP OSPF database. They don't have a LSA5 information. Can you see that? Is there any LSA5 information? No. At the same time, if you see the do show IP root OSPF, I don't have a E2 dot. And now let's check the size of memory. Do show IP root summary. So what is the previously size? 2172, right? Overhead is what? 612. Before a stub, after a stub. So what happened? Previously, I don't have the information, right? Previously, we had all information. Now what happened? E flag is equal to 0, right? That's the meaning of that. I'm not able to handle the external route capability. My E flag is 0 now. I don't have ability. I've disabled this thing. I have disabled the features of external route capability. And that's why this is the reason, guys, try to understand the meaning of each and every commands over there and try to understand the technology, what's happening. If the hello flag is, you say the 0, I'm not able to maintain that information. And now if you see, I have a single route. That's, I told you that default route will be generated by whom? Somebody else, say that will generate the. So what happened? A stub is going to remove the stub is going to remove the LSA5, LSA4 information on R2 router. And what this guy is going to do, it will generate the one somebody LSA. ABR will generate. What ABR is going to do? ABR will generate one somebody LSA with default order. That's the meaning of stub, guys. So what ABR is doing over there, can you see that? Same thing is happening over there. R2 is the ABR order. If you see to do show IP OSPF, it's an area border order. And what I'm going to do, area 1 is the configure of the stub area, right? And what is the behavior of ABR order? So now the R2 will never share the LSA4 and LSA5 information. It will just send the LSA3 information with the default route. And that's why you will have a information. LSA3 information with the default route. Advertising route is 2.2.2. And who is 2.2.2? 2.2.2 is the border router, ABR router. So you can manipulate this cost as well as if you want. If you want to manipulate the cost, you can change this cost. For example, I say that area 1 cost. क्या था command here? Default cost, make the 100, 1000. If you want to, you can do that. To path, to manipulate the path, we can change the cost if you want. Now if you see, previously it was receiving the cost with 11. Now
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Sir, what if any other routers are behind R3, sir?
R3 also not receive. Also not receive. For example, this is the area 1, right? In the area 1, R3, R4, R5, R6, they will not, also not receive. They will just receive a somebody LSA information.
Sir, and default route, it's unreliable, no, sir?
So
It's good or bad in this case? What we're doing?
in this case, it's good, right? If your router does not have a much memory to handle that amount of route,
Memory.
yeah, then you need to send this information, right?
Yes.
All right. So now R2, what I command put over there to show run section. Area 1 stub. Let me configure this command for the area 0 stub. What happens? So it means that you cannot configure area 0 as a stub, because you cannot configure area 0 as a stub because area 0 is a transit area. And you cannot configure stub over there. As the name stub means, as the name says, stub means what? Stub is something like that. Stub is something like that. It's a last route, right? A last area. So this is the last area. Can you see that this is last area? The branch router is there. This is the headquarter branch. So always stub will be configured in the last. That's the meaning of stub. But you cannot configure the stub in the transit area, because stub means what? You are reducing the information. But backbone area should be have a complete information. Should be. So you cannot configure area 0 as a stub area. Clear? So in the transit area, one is the area 0 is coming, right? In the transit area, one more area is coming. That's a virtual link. that I'll discuss with you later on, not now. Even in the virtual link, what happened? You cannot configure. Stop. One more thing is there. One condition is ASBR. That's I'm not going to discuss right now. Not today. Okay. One more condition is there. Stop. So right now, whatever the point of view you have to understand, you cannot configure the stuff in the transit area. Either it's a area 0, or either you have a virtual link concept. And what is the behavior of the stuff? Stuff is just going to remove the LSA4 and LSA5 information, and instead of that, what they will do, they will generate the summary LSA information, LSA3, and that is going to reduce the size of routing table, database table. At the same time, they will reduce the wastage of memory. So previously it was 2000 nearby, not just a 5112. And I can send any traffic to the any person. If you have a look over there, and forwarding the packet based on the default order. But if you check on R2, R2 will have a complete information because R2 this link is a part of stuff. This link is not, right. So R2 will have a complete information because R2 is a backbone area order. R3 does not have. Whatever the routers that are sitting in the area 1, they does not have. Whatever the routers that are sitting in the area number 1, they don't have any complete information. This is the meaning of stub. Let me show you one more thing. Interface loopback number 1. Done. So if you have created the 5 loopbacks on R1, and if you check on R3 right now, R3 will have all information. So IP root OSPF. At the same time, they have a default order. Why? Because this area is configured as a stub area, right? But still, if you see, do show IP for database, I have a lots of summary LSA. I don't have LSA 4 and 5, but I have a lots of summary LSA. This amount of summary LSA we have. Because in the branch or in the headquarter network, what happened? They have 100 routers. 100 router in the sense of what, maybe they can have a 1000 subnets. If they have 1000 subnets, then what happened? R2 will sell the 1000 routes to the R3, or we can say that 1000 as a LSA3 as a 1000 OIA routes. And that's why if you see the OI routes over there, this guy is still going to consume some amount of memory, right? So if you do a summary, still going to consume some memory. See, 6000, not 6000, 6892, almost 7000. What OSPF is allowing you, this is the stuff features. What OSPF is allowing you, you can also configure the totally stuff. What totally stuff is going to do? Try to answer. Stuff is going to remove the LSA4 and LSA5. No, LSA 4. This is the R2 router. Okay, no LSA 5 and no LSA 3. Not no LSA 3, reduce the LSA 3. Reduce the LSA 3 means what? For example, if you have a thousands LSA 3 information, it will convert into the single LSA 3. And what R2 is going to say? R2 is going to share this information to whom? R2 is going to share this information to the R3, whatever the routers that are sitting into the area 1. So instead R3, instead of maintaining the R3 as a 1000 LSA, somebody LSA, what this guy is going to do, they will remove this information because this guy is configured with the now totally stuck. And in this case, what happened? This is just going to maintain a single LSA 3 information. Single LSA 3. By making a area as a totally stuck. LSA stub is going to try to understand, stub is going to remove that. Can you say stub is going to remove that LSA 5 and 4. Totally stub is going to remove that LSA 5, 4, and it is going to reduce the LSA 3. Because still this guy is able to receive the huge amount of LSA 3 information. What I can do on R2, I simply go on R2 router. I see that do so IP protocol right now. If you see, one is a stub area, right? What I can do on R2, I simply see that router OSPF 1, area 1 stub. Right now, what happened? R2. Right now, what happened? R2 is sending the huge amount of summary LSA to the R3. Huge amount of. What I can do over there, I can see that don't send summary LSA. No summary. Don't send the summary LSA. Because R2 is a router that will create the summary LSA, right? I say that don't send summary LSA. And you only need to configure this command on a R2 router, ABR router. Now, what people are doing, people are also going to configure this command on R3. This is not a feasible solution. R3 already a part of area 1 stuff, right? Because the both for both the guy stuff and totally stuff for both person, right? Flag is same. For both person, flag is same. And who is going to generate the summary LSA? ABR. If the ABR is going to generate the summary LSA, you only need to configure this command on a R2 router, ABR router. You are not allowed to configure. You can configure on R3 as well as, but that's not a recommendation. That's not a feasible solution. So remember one thing. Clear? So I just put the no area 1. Don't send summary LSA. Now, if you have a look over there.
Sir, no summary if you add.
No summary means, sorry.
100 LSS will be converted into 1 LSS in.
Yeah. All
but
the no summary.
LSA, no, sir.
Sorry.
But it will send one summary LSA, no, sir.
Yeah, right. Of course, now it will send one summary LSA.
Okay.
Now, if you check the R3, previously we have this amount of information. Now, single. And now, if you check the so IP root OSPF, I only have a single routing table. Previously, if you see the routing table size, let me show you. You see that? I can send the traffic to the any person. You just let me know. You know, send the 4.4.4.4, of course. 4.44.44, of course. Ping 192.168.101. Anywhere I can ping it. and the size it will reduce. So previously the size was 7,000, right? Now can you see that what's the behavior of the totals stuff? So depend on your condition, right? Depend on your requirement, you can do that stuff and totally as well. Push the question, Anup. I'm done.
That's all, sir. OSPF only this much, sir, today.
I'm done with this topic.
Okay.
We
Nothing,
have
sir.
a-
What I wanted to ask was,
Yeah.
when we were doing static route, you had told with the help of route maps, so we can manipulate the next stops.
Mm-hmm.
So that I wanted to ask, sir. Okay, in future class activities, sir.
अब पढ़ा दूंगा, वो भी पढ़ा दूंगा. अभी अभी ये पढ़ ले. राउट मैप का वीडियो देख लिया तूने? Did you watch the route map video?
No, sir. I watch.
तो पहले watch वो तो कर ले, पहले route map तो समझ ले.
ठीक है, sir.
Okay guys, so we have done with this stuff. So whatever the topics that are remaining, I'll let you know. We have an NSS area. See, there is a single command to configure the NSS area. We just moved the area 1 NSS, right? But I'll tell you one thing, you need to understand the NSS area. That's also important. I just need a 5 minutes to configure this thing, right? Not 5, even the 30 seconds. But we have a more topics over the almost a 1 hour plus video is there on our NSA. Then we can go for the summarization that you already know and the filtering. That will take the just 30 to 40 minutes. That's it. Because the already concept, you know, only I just need to configure it. Okay. And then virtually. Then after that I did. I'm done with those. So what I can do over there from tomorrow, tomorrow we don't have a class, right? Because I'm done with the 5:30 batches, right? So I have another batches. So we don't have a class. This one we'll make it on Tuesdays. Fine. Tuesday, I'll let you know in the group. Okay, don't worry. I just need 2 days to finish this thing. Okay, so I'll let you know in the group whatever the timings. I'll let you know. Okay.
So try to take in evening only, sir, if possible.
Evening at same time at 5:30 I'm going to do.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make it this guy, and tomorrow 11 a.m. One batch is started. Okay, I'll just put in this mass in the group. Okay, the route will be started.